Guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a dating horror story. This video I have been wanting to make for a while. It's just been like a matter of me getting the time to sit down and film it. So I figured, why not now? Also, I'm at my house. I'm just in a different location. Normally I film in my room, but today I'm in the living room. No one else is really home, so I just figured it'd be the perfect time to, I don't know, just try a different filming location. If the shadow in the back bothers you, I'm sorry, but, you know, just roll with it. Also, this, what I'm wearing is because I know every time I wear it, people are so confused. It's faux fur, but it is so warm and comfy. It's like one of those velour jackets. Oh my god, I love it. Okay, so anyways, story time. Yes. This happened about 3.5 months ago. I met this guy on Tinder. Now, no shade towards Tinder, but I've met people on Tinder and like I've become friends with people that I've met on Tinder, but I've never really had an actual real relationship off of Tinder. And I've had Tinder for like almost a year. I kind of got into it late in the game, but yeah. Anyways, so this guy I swiped right on. He was 25, it said, and he only had 2 pictures, which is kind of a red flag, but I mean, the 2 pictures he had, he was semi-decent looking, and his bio was kind of short, but to the point, and it seemed pretty professional, and I was like, you know, whatever. So we matched, and we started talking, and then we started texting. We would text throughout the day, but it wasn't like every 10 minutes. It was more like every hour or so, which is fine, because I'm not a huge texter. If you know me, you know that. I'm kind of bad at, like, responding back, but I seemed to get irritated about that, and he wasn't super clingy or annoying, so I was like, okay, cool. So we met up for drinks. Now, I live in a pretty small town, and he lived about an hour away from me, and in my town, there's only, like, 2 bars, so I didn't mind driving to his town, which is an hour away, because I was like, you know, I can go there, we can have some drinks, and then I can go do some shopping because there's a few stores there that I like to go to. And so we made plans to meet about a week after we started talking. And so I drive over to this other town about an hour away, and it was right around the holidays, like around Thanksgiving time, I want to say. And basically there was this parade going on, or this one block was sectioned off, and so the parking, which was normally a parking lot where I was going to park to go into this bar, like the parking had, it basically, I had a feeling that when I left I was going to have to pay, you know, whatever, I assumed it'd just be a few bucks. Okay, just take that into consideration, that's important later. So basically I park and then I go into this bar, and he's texting me, he's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on my way, I'm just walking into the bar, whatever. So I walk in, and the type of bar it is, it's not like you just walk in and there's like the counter, everything. When you walk in, it was kind of upscale, like there was like this foyer area, and then you walk through and past that, and then you get to like the bar area, and then you've got some tables. So, sorry, that's like the heater I'm like accidentally hitting. So yeah, I walked through the front door, and there was this guy waiting like right behind the front door as I walk in, and part of me was like, maybe that's him, because there's a guy here waiting in front of the door and he knows that I'm coming, maybe it's him. But I was like, no, because as soon as I walked through the door, I went right past him, literally walked like 5 steps, and then he goes, Abigail? I froze in my tracks. So I'm like, yes. Girl, on his Tinder profile, it said 25. Okay? He was more like, add 20 years to that. His pictures were like maybe him a minute ago. I'm not trying to be rude, but I got straight up catfished, and I just don't like that. What else are you gonna lie about? Especially the whole age thing, like, that's not cool. Like, no offense, like, I don't have anything against dating older people, but when they tell you they're 25 and their profile says 25 and they're like 45, that's not cool. I should have just left then, but part of me was like, I already drove all the way over here. You know, we're in a public place. If I don't like this, I can just leave, which I didn't have any, at that moment in time, I was like, there's not going to be a second date. I can tell you that. But I was like, you know, why don't I just try to make the best of it? I know, bad idea. Bad idea. And Mind you, this is so important. When I first walked in, I just don't understand why when I walked through the door, he didn't say something. Like, he waited until I walked past him 5 feet. And he was really, really, like, jittery and just kind of awkward and shy. And I didn't want to be rude because I understand being nervous, but it was kind of a bizarre nervous, as though he had been already drinking, which I knew he got to the bar before me, but I had no idea if he was drinking, like, really before I got there, you know? I figured maybe he was just waiting. So we walked past the foyer area into the actual bar area to where he had been sitting, and it looked like he had a glass of tequila on the rocks and also, like, a cup of water with ice in it. And it was really awkward because it was just him and me and the bartender there, and it was 3 o'clock, so it wasn't super packed yet. We start talking, and I got like a rum and coke, and he was like, "You look like you need a shot of tequila." And I'm like, "No." Because first of all, I don't do tequila. Like, tequila is not good with me. I do, but I mean, only if I'm doing like bar Jenga or something and I have to. Like, tequila is just not my thing. Anyways, I was like, "No, I'm good." And then he acted really irritated. I'm trying to make small talk because it was really awkward. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Yeah, so, you know, blah, 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 whatever." Cut me off mid-sentence with something that had nothing to do with what I was talking about. Like, I'll give you an example. I was like, "Oh, yeah, my one friend, she's, you know, going on vacation in a week, and I was just talking to her the other day," and he's like, "So do you like rum?" He would literally just cut me off the entire time. And like, what's the point of me even trying to start a conversation or bring up my own topic, because you clearly don't care and are not going to listen to. I kind of just like shut up and just started drinking my drink, and I was like, I cannot wait to be out of here. And he goes to put his arm around me, and I'm like, "Whoa, no." No. I mean, it would be different maybe if he was who he said he was, and if we were there for a few hours and we were getting along, but this was like, 10 minutes into it. I kind of like shrug away a little, and he's like, "Oh, I see how it is." And then he's like trying to grab my face and trying to like make out with me. And I'm like, no. And the bartender was like looking over because this guy was being really loud and obnoxious, the guy my Tinder date with, and it was making me uncomfortable because some of the things he was talking about, I was like, "Why are you talking about this like so loud right here at the bar?" Because I knew he had been drinking before I got there. That was quite apparent once we sat down. But he must have been on something too, I'm guessing. I don't know how to describe it. It was just like the look in his eyes. He kept like bulging his eyes out of his head and then like squinting, moving and jittering. That's not nerves. I mean, it could be, but I've never seen someone act that way before. And I've been on a lot of dates, okay? A girl knows nerves. I get nervous. But for that day, I really was just, I wanted to leave. So flash forward some time, you know, I'm trying to talk about my life a little, for what I can at least, and he puts his like hand around my neck, like takes it and like is, you know, like that. And I stopped talking and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And you know what he says? "Practicing. I don't know what he meant by practicing, but that was enough for me to be like, I want to book it. And so, because when he didn't just say practicing, he was like, practicing. Oh, no. And so he says, "So, how should we proceed from here?" And I said, "You know, I think you're a very nice person, and it was very nice meeting you. But, you know, I think maybe we should talk about you know, maybe getting drinks another time, or getting dinner or coffee, or, you know, even though I had no intention, but trying to kind of get out of it without being a jerk, you know, even though I feel like I had every right to even leave when I walked through the front door and realized he wasn't who he said he was. But all right, sorry, my camera died. I had to go charge it, so I'm back. So if everything's a little bit off-centered, I'm sorry. So basically, his arm was around me, and I was trying to have it not be. But when his arm was around me, he asked me, so where should we proceed? And I said, and once I told him, you know, maybe we should, you know, meet up some other time, his whole demeanor changed. He went from having his arm around me to taking it completely off from around me, and then was like, oh, well, I guess we can just consider this our first and last date. And I'm like, hey, no problem. Great. And so he asked the bartender for the tab. And, you know, I get off my bar stool. He had his jacket around my bar stool. I don't know why. But I, you know, was trying to be nice because I'm not an asshole. So I picked up the jacket and I handed it to him. And I was kind of standing there because what do I do, to just like walk out? That's kind of awkward, even though I already was awkward. And he's like, you don't have to stand there and wait. You can just go. I'm like, I go to like walk to like the main foyer area to get to the door to leave. And as soon as I get to the front door, he goes, Abigail? And I'm like, yes. And he goes, don't even bother texting me. Don't even bother calling me. Like, there's no point. There's no more point in wasting any more of my time. I've never felt so confused. The whole thing was a mess. It was confusing. It was creepy. It was weird. I've never had an experience like that before, where I literally did not know what happened. I honest to God don't know if he was like nervous for the date and just got drunk and did something beforehand, or like if this is how he is in person and he's good at covering up through text. I don't know, but I didn't like it. I mean, it did kind of hurt me that he said that, because he was being really rude and trying to make me feel like I was the one in the wrong or something. But bottom line is it was mad weird, and I wasn't trying to be a part of it anymore at all. So yeah, so I leave. And I go and I walk to my car. And as I leave, remember how I told you about the whole parking thing? I get in my car. I go to leave and I have to go where there's the two arrows, or the two little, like the sign that comes down, like lets you leave, but you have to pay before you leave. You want to know how much my parking was? It was the type of thing where if I was there all day, like parking there all day, it would have been so cheap. But since I was only there, it was like timed. Since I was only there for probably like less than an hour, I ended up having to pay $36 just for parking there. I drove all the way for this date to be like catfished and to feel like this person was starting to get a bit serial killerish, or I don't know what. The whole practicing thing was just like the point where I was like, that's it, that is it. And then this on top of it, I was like, I literally was going to go get myself some Taco Bell when I left, and I wasn't even hungry. I literally just came home. I didn't even go to the mall. I didn't even go to Walmart. I love Walmart, okay? I didn't go anywhere. I came home, and I drove in silence, and I followed the speed limit. I even went 5 miles under. I was so bewildered. All I'm saying is I'm very glad that I wasn't talking to him for weeks and weeks before we met. And I'm also glad that we met at like a public place. And that I'm a strong enough girl to be like, listen, I'm not, don't put your arm around me when like I don't know you like that. And it'd be one thing if it was like just that, maybe. But it was, how he did it was like, it was so obvious. I mean, based on the fact that he was trying to like maul my face off and I was not having it and like not letting him, I was like, I'm not having you put your arm around me like this because there's ulterior motives that I'm not trying to be a part of. And And just the whole thing was like a shit show. But that was my story. And I felt like I've been wanting to share this for so long because it's funny, but it's also scary and real, and like why people need to be careful on the internet. Are we ever going to stop with Tinder? Probably not. That sounds really bad, but let's be real. The swipe thing is real. Honest to God. Also, I want to know, have any of you guys ever met anyone on Tinder? Like, have you ever been in like a relationship with someone from Tinder? Like, because I really want to know. I really, really, really want to know. I mean, I've met, honestly, a lot of just what happens with me is like, we talk, we actually on Snapchat, and then we don't talk. And then I just have a million people on Snapchat that I don't talk to, and that don't talk to me, and everything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, yes.